The new floor upgrade Mercedes introduced at Austin has performed very well, and it seems like this is proof that the Silver Arrows are moving forwards in the right direction for 2024. Hamilton is electrified for the first time in 2 years, labeling that the new floor felt like an actual upgrade for once. Even though the team took a huge blow by Hamilton's disqualification after the United States Grand Prix, the journey does not end there for either the Briton or for the Silver Arrows. The Mexican Grand Prix is up next, and this race is presenting Mercedes with a rare opportunity, one that the team has been waiting for throughout this year. With a confident team backing up two very well-motivated drivers, could Mexico be the race where one of the Brits strike out a race victory for Mercedes? Out of all upgrades at Austin, the new floor upgrade for the W14 was the most anticipated one. Yes, the team did not actually hype this upgrade, and only called it to provide an improvement of about 1/10 of a second, not actually setting high expectations themselves. But from the first lap of driving the upgraded Mercedes car, Lewis Hamilton felt the difference and knew that this is the direction that his team should follow on for next year's car. Before everybody questions this claim by pointing out the disqualification of Hamilton from the race, let me clear that incident up for you guys. Both parties, Hamilton and his engineers, clearly stated that their choice of setup, utilizing a lower ride height, was the X factor behind the high plank wear on Hamilton's W14, and it had nothing to do with the upgraded floor. So with the DSQ out of the equation, it is safe to say that this boost in confidence and performance was what Mercedes needed to push development in a clear direction for 2024. And with just 4 races remaining, the team's goals are simple: to continue the good form, secure second in the Constructors' Championship, take the fight to Red Bull, and try to win a race or two. We believe all of this is possible, with this new floor playing a key role in all of those matters. What role, you may ask? That is providing both Hamilton and Russell with the confidence to push the car to its limits on high-speed corners, making the W14 much more drivable. Toto Wolff came out of the blocks straight praising his team for this improvement, and mentioned that Hamilton personally talked to him about how much better the car feels to drive with the upgrades fitted. Straight from the get-go in FP1, Lewis said he could feel the rear now. That means the car has become more predictable and given both drivers confidence. The positives are that the upgrade looks to have given us a step forward in terms of performance. Our pace was strong all weekend, and it was encouraging to be in the fight for victory. The 7-time world champion himself had some positive words to share, as he during media briefings went on to say, "Right from the start of FP1, I was on it. I felt really good in the car and could feel the upgrade," he said. "It's great to see us taking this step in the right direction. I think this is definitely the most positive I felt this year, but in general, it's not been a terrible year. There's a lot of things that we can improve on in terms of the processes and all of us, but I'm excited. I definitely believe that we're going in the right direction. The direction is loud and clear for Mercedes: have a competitive machinery for 2024, something which would be on par with next year's Red Bull." Seeing just how fast Hamilton was around Austin, one could help but wonder how competitive he would be in the upcoming campaign with a competitive race car. But for all that to correspond properly for next season, the floor must move in the right direction. That is an area which requires a lot more work on, and that would an area where Mercedes will pour most of their attention onto during the winter break. Whether or not this new floor can be used on next year's W15 is a big hanging question. The simple answer is yes. With 4 races remaining, that time frame will allow Mercedes to put the new floor to the test, allowing for better optimization as well. Along the underfloor, Mercedes know that they need to spend time on next year's brand new chassis and on power unit elements, with the team transferring from the zero-pod design to a much more traditional bodywork design. Nevertheless, there's one thing that remains the same for the Silver Arrows moving forwards. That is how they are able to make the ground effect work. In these new Formula One cars, nearly 70% of downforce is generated from the underfloor. And with a power unit free implemented till 2026, all Mercedes can work on for improvement is aerodynamics, especially the underfloor aerodynamics. While Mercedes might be focused more on 2024, they still have one thing to achieve this season: keep up their record of winning at least one race every season. And the first opportunity for that would be around Mexico. Mercedes winning a race this season was a hard task to achieve, with how dominant the RB19 and Max Verstappen have been all season long. But since Austin, we have seen how much pace the W14 has in hand now, and the Silver Arrows made a masterclass decision to introduce that upgrade at Austin, even though it was a sprint weekend, so the team could gather data on a bumpy circuit, filled with corner profiles ranging from low to high speed. And the thing to note with Mexico is, it is a high downforce circuit, so plays to all the strengths of the current W14. James Allison, in the latest debrief video, talked about the upgrades and how the team will fare around Mexico. He commended the progress the W14 has made by the upgrades, and mentioned that Mexico should be a decent outing for his team, as long as cooling of the W14 is taken care of. The weekend was a very cast-iron vote of confidence in favor of the stuff we put on the car. It gives us great hope for the races that remain. We got Mexico first, high altitude, thin air, a track where the asphalt is quite different to the ones we've just been at. And as long as we can keep the car cool there in the thin air of the Mexico track, then I think we will be pretty decent. After the announcement of Wolff regarding how much progress the floor upgrade has allowed his team to make, it is evident that he is hoping his team to notch up a race victory sooner rather than later. Not to mention that Hamilton is still eyeing second on the Drivers' Championship. That could be just the motivation needed to win the race at Mexico. What's key for Mercedes moving to Mexico is the Austin performance. On a bumpy circuit filled with differing speed corners, the W14 with a low ride height performed well, without causing any bottoming or porpoising problems. This bodes well for Mexico, a smooth tarmac which by default allows teams to run their cars low to the ground as possible. That means that Mercedes can actually run more or less an aerodynamic package similar to McLaren and Red Bull in terms of downforce numbers, which gives them the opportunity to compete for the pole and the race victory. That's for Mexico. What about the actual W15? Now that we have seen what 2024 holds for us, what more do we know about next year's Mercedes Challenger? First, we know there are lots of changes incoming. The Austin floor is the very basic and the first one of those changes. We know that Mercedes are not afraid of moving in a certain direction if they believe the potential is there to be extracted. The Zero Pod was one of those perceived directions. That is all in the past, and the future is what we have to look up to. And that future is coming very much closer. Mercedes set themselves an ambitious target for 2024, be in a position to win championships. With the margin Red Bull has, that is a tough task. But the Austin upgrade has only proven that Mercedes are on the right path and are on track to achieve that goal. When talking about this matter, Andrew Shovlin went on to say, "We are changing the car quite considerably for the next year. Whether or not we can solve all the issues that we've got on the handling, that will depend on a number of projects delivering. Those projects are underway. They're not complete, but we have got some good directions to try and improve that." Shovlin made these statements before the Austin upgrade was introduced. Now that we have seen what this new direction is capable of, it's safe to assume that Mercedes is ready to level up their game next season. And it was only fair from Mercedes' point of view to notch at least one race victory within this season, after the improvements their customer team McLaren has made in season. But what do you guys think? What chances do you think Mercedes have on winning the race, going to Mexico? What are your expectations for 2024 after witnessing a glimpse of next year's direction from the Austin floor? Very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula One season.